What someone may find is that although they want to be in a loving relationship, they have pushed at least one person away who was like this. It might have taken them a little while to see this though. The reason for this is that for a little while after, they might have believed that the other person was the problem and/or what was going on out there was to blame. But by stepping back and reflecting on what took place, it will have been possible for them to see clearly. Still, they could struggle to understand why they have behaved in this way. They might even come to the conclusion that there is something wrong with them, especially as they will want to be in a loving relationship. After this, they could feel very low and totally helpless. While laying into themselves is not going to help them, they will have come a long way by seeing that they played a part in what took place. If they hadn't got to this point and just blamed what was going on externally, it would be a lot harder for them to change their life. It will be important for them to keep in mind that they probably didn't consciously choose to push the other person away. As a result of this, it will be important for them to put their self-blame to one side and to be curious. When they think about their last relationship, or one of their relationships that came to an end, that's if this has taken place on more than one occasion. They might see that their relationship was going well, and then it changed. It was then not a case of it going well, and then it ended. Consequently, they might see that when it was going well, they felt uncomfortable, and when it wasn't going well, they felt comfortable. Therefore, when the other person was warm, it wouldn't have felt right, and when they were cold, it would have felt right. Or perhaps, to be more accurate, a big part of them would have felt comfortable when the other person changed. Going even deeper, they might see that they did certain things to make them act cold. Once again, this is likely to have been something that took place unconsciously. For example, they might see that they gradually became less attentive, argumentative, and less available. Naturally, their partner would have responded to what was going on, but that's not to say that this was something that they always consciously chose to do. Due to this, one is likely to have continued to change their behaviour, feeling as though they had every right to retaliate. Their partner would then have had an even bigger reason to behave in the same way, and before long, the relationship would have fallen apart. At this point, or perhaps after it came to an end, they might have tried to change what was going on. What could soon enter their mind is why a big part of them doesn't feel comfortable being in a loving relationship, and has the need to be in a relationship that is anything but loving. If this is something that they have experienced on a number of occasions or only once, it could show that their early years were not very nurturing. Throughout this stage of their life, they might have often been physically harmed, verbally put down, and/or abandoned. This would then have been a time when they were treated as though they had no value and were unlovable. As they were egocentric, what took place would have been personalized. In reality, what took place was not a sign that they were worthless or unlovable. It was a sign of how wounded their parent or parents were. Now that they are an adult, what took place will be over. But a big part of them is still going to have the need to be loved. This part of them will cause them to unconsciously recreate their early dynamic so that they can finally be loved. But as this stage of their life is over, not to mention that another person is not their parent, they won't be able to meet their unmet developmental needs. For them to no longer recreate their early struggle for love and to feel comfortable being in a loving relationship, they will most likely need to face the pain that they experience through not being loved and experience their unmet developmental needs. This is not going to be easy, and it won't take place overnight, which is why it will take courage and patience and persistence. So with that said, if you can relate to this, if you can see that you have pushed at least one person who is loving away, then this may be due to what took place during your formative years, with this being a time when you were not cherished, you were not loved, you were not treated like someone who was valuable and lovable. And as I've said, as you were egocentric, you would have taken everything to heart, and you would have also believed that if you did the right thing, if you behaved in the right way, you would finally be loved. And so you would have had this false hope, and this would have also been a defense against the reality that you were in, a reality where you were not loved and you were not treated as though you had value. And so for you to draw the line and to put an end to what is going on, and to feel comfortable being in a loving relationship with a person who is warm and present, you will most likely have a lot of pain to face and unmet developmental needs to experience. And as I've said at the end, this will take courage and patience and persistence, because it won't be easy and it won't take place overnight. And for you to do this, you may need to reach out for external support so that you can gradually change your life. If you'd like to find out more about the services that I offer, please go to www.oliverjrcooper.co.uk or email me at info@oliverjrcooper.co.uk, and I'm looking forward to assisting you on your journey.